We know that every needle must have its craftsman and owner.
What? Right into it, I guess, and really? That's what you're going with. A version of the watchmaker argument so simplistic that even by that argument's stupid standards, it actually makes zero sense. I mean, for starters, I'm pretty damn sure that the vast majority of needles produced these days are made by great big machines that shit out zillions of the things a second, and to such a degree that any of them, once leaving the factory, going through someone's hands and eventually getting lost in the wherever, if you picked it up, the idea that it has an owner is, well, just kind of meaningless. So, good job. First thing you say, it already makes less than no sense.
And as we know, every letter must be written by someone.
Are you talking about letters or like letters? Because the one that's like a single character, then no, that can absolutely be a thing that just happened to have formed in nature. Now, technically, it wouldn't actually be a letter, and it's more just humans doing pattern recognition, but it's still there. And if we're talking letters like a thing written out to send to someone, well, we are back to machines again, doing it automatically. Who wrote the letter exactly? You might have asked the machine to do it, but it was probably trained by someone else, and that training was probably done on millions of people's data. It's just as meaningless again as to who did whatever as last time.
Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense, right?
Yeah. If I didn't know any better, I would think this was satire, but unfortunately it ain't. This is Towards Eternity, a group I have covered before, and no, I don't think they would understand satire if it walked up to them and kicked them in the... Do YouTube channels have faces? Whatever. Yeah, no. Irony is not what's happening here, unless you count the irony of them thinking they just made a good point.
Well, then how can it be that an extremely well-ordered human being has no ruler?
Oh, that was something. Humans are well ordered. Are you kidding me? Humans are absolutely terribly ordered. They are to design as sticking paint up your nose and sneezing is to interior decorating. I mean, there's so many things that are just not, well, I want to say intelligently thought out, but they clearly aren't thought out at all. I mean, if someone was to design a human, then what we have now just wouldn't be it. If I were to have my way personally, they would poop from their knees, fuck with their faces, and that whole mouth deal would just not be there. Makes things nice and quiet.
Some people are ignoring the miracle of creation.
Now you say ignoring, but I would say it's not a fucking miracle, or creation for that matter. You can call it the miracle of creation all you want, but that doesn't mean that's what it actually is. We have studied your so-called miracle and discovered that it is in fact probably not that. There was in fact no need for some great big creator guy to make all the things, because the universe is really good at doing a making of things, all by its big empty lonesome. And hey, maybe you want to say, well, maybe God did the universe, and okay, but that's just the container. All the everything else still did itself, whether he did that other shit or not.
They claim that the human came into existence by atoms that came together.
Atoms came. And yeah, I mean, even if God did it, the atoms would still have had to come together. The claim is that they did it without intervention. Now, that's not really that far-fetched, since we have lots of evidence of things that form without the need for someone to have to do it. And we have experiments that show the building blocks of life could definitely form without someone having to actually make them. So as much as it's a claim, like the things you say are claims, one set of claims has evidence and experimentation and inferences based on other interactions we have seen, and the other has a book that says God did it though, which was written by people forever ago who didn't know any better. Which one do you think yours is?
They also say that the human is only a speaking animal.
Who is this they? I have never heard anyone call humans just a speaking animal. I mean, for starts, the hell does that even mean? Speech is just a singular form of communication. There are tons of ways to communicate information and ideas, and animals do basically all of them. Hell, many of them humans can't even come close to understanding with any kind of fluency. So does that make bees better because they can dance you some directions to a sugary treat? Well, yes, obviously. If someone could boogie me in the direction of donuts, my life would be at least 10 times better.
Isn't this absurd?
Everything you have said so far? Yes, you have given terrible examples and just plain made up things people say about stuff. And we aren't even halfway done. So I am looking forward to just how silly you're going to get today. Please, go ahead.
People who claim that don't even know which nonsense they have to accept with the denying of a creator.
And you deliver so damn fast. Amazing. The people you made stuff up about believe in nonsense in order to deny a creator. Okay, but, and hear me out, what if the things they are accepting aren't nonsense, but you just don't understand them, or apparently haven't actually heard or understood them? Since, well, why would you be making stuff up if that were the case? And, you know, to give your talking animal idea its best bet, it still doesn't make any odds. Humans are animals. That is a fact, because animal is just a classification invented by humans. The fact that you guys are always so offended by that doesn't somehow prove humans aren't animals. Just that you don't have any notion of the meaning and purpose of those classifications. Ignorance is not an argument for anything, mate.
So, this is why we will ask you a few questions in order to make you think more in detail about this topic.
Oh god, no, it's questions. What will we do? We all know the best way to prove anything is to ask a bunch of stupid questions that demonstrate the asker has no fucking idea what they're talking about. In fact, if we ever hear those kinds of questions, there's a chance we will all immediately turn into theists and start believing the first God concept presented to us. I can only assume that's what they think will happen when they come up with these fucking videos. Christ.
The human body consists of different parts, like our hands and feet, or inner organs.
Hands, feet, or organs. I mean, he's not technically wrong, but is also like just ridiculous. I mean, the various parts that make up a human, especially the limbs, are kind of arbitrarily distinguished. Yeah, your hands and feet might be separate in one sense, but they are both covered in skin, filled with bones, and have meat and sinew and all that jazz making them work. And pretty much everything in between, at least on the outside, is pretty much the same. The only reason we draw lines between them is because it makes it easier to talk about them, but the whole thing is just one meaty, bony sack of useless bastard, in the grand scheme of things.
How is it possible that the blind atoms can create hands, feet and organs?
Atoms don't create shit, you dumb sack of useless bony bastard meat. Processes create, if you have to use that word, hands and feet and whatever, systems that have developed over time. Atoms are merely building blocks for the whole of a human, including the holes of a human. And that's just poetry, really. But yeah, no one says that atoms are the things making body parts. Look at you just making up straw men to fight against and clearly winning. I'm so very proud of you. I mean, clearly someone has to be. This kind of stupidity is not the result of parents who give a shit.
Just think about it.
You first, dumbass.
Atoms don't possess any knowledge about life conditions.
Wait a minute, does that mean that you're an atom? Since you clearly don't possess any knowledge about anything at all, really. Or perhaps it's just your brain that is the size of an atom. Although that would go against my other theory, seeing as that would mean you have a brain at all. That just doesn't stand up to the evidence presented. You know, this video.
But they should be able to create a human body that is wearable. Really?
Thank Christy Ismo you have subtitles, because I had no idea what wearable means. And look, I'm not having a go, the guy speaks great English so far, but if you're going to come out here and refute all of the science by saying things that have nothing to do with science, it'd help if you were a little more clear. But hey, at least what you said was dumb, so it's not like it really matters.
How can the atoms of the eye create an eye that is able to see the sun?
Well, forgetting the whole atoms doing it bit, which again, no. There's this process, right, that's called evolution. It's been studied for a really goddamn long time to such a degree that we understand it to the point where we can now proudly call it a theory. But wait now. Hold your horses. You think I'm talking about theory as an idea that maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. But no, this is scientific theory, a thing that is so robust and well understood and demonstrated that there's few things in this world we understand better and to the same degree. And yep, it can create eyes that can see out of atoms that cannot. It's cool. It can also create brains that can't think, obviously, you know, 'cause of you.
While they are not able to see the sun themselves.
I do envy that of atoms. I mean, the sun fucking sucks. Way too hot, way too bright, makes me tired. But here's a fun way you might understand how a sensor like the eye could come to be. Your skin can feel the sun's rays. Now imagine if the cells that do that became more dense and capable over time to the point where you couldn't just feel the sun's rays, but you could understand the various strengths of them, understanding the different levels they are around you. Now imagine we're talking about light and you could have an idea of how light sensors could have started as just a general sensation that eventually developed into something more useful. Why is it so hard to believe that could develop in iterations? We all know that we are just iterations of our parents with little changes. Why can't those changes build up over generations? Oh, that's right, they can and do all the time. It's called evolution.
Are you saying that your ear atoms have created your ears while they are not able to hear themselves?
I don't know why you are so obsessed with this idea of atoms needing to have the capabilities of the things they are constructed out of. Like, who said that's a requirement? I mean, for fuck's sake, humans can't see infrared. Are you saying that humans couldn't possibly make a device that can do that? Because, oh wait, they totally did. Your point, whatever you think it's supposed to be, is completely moot. Maybe you should stop. I know he probably won't, but no one ever got what they wanted by not asking.
And the atoms of the tongue cannot taste, but they create the tongue?
Yeah, I thought so. Seriously, this is not a good argument. Who told you that it was? 'Cause they lied to you. I mean, I suppose you had to buy it, and that's not exactly their fault, but still. It's really like asking how a house can be made from bricks when a single brick doesn't provide shelter. No one is expecting that. No one is saying that. No one on earth believes that's how anything works. And this is supposed to be one of those irrefutable proofs kind of deals. Do you think irrefutable means extremely refutable? Even by the world's dumbest idiot? Because, well, you're already busy making the video. I didn't think you would have time.
How should this all be possible?
Evolution, I already said it, just because you don't understand it or like it, especially as it easily debunks the ways you think things came to be. That's not evolution's problem. That's your problem. Your incredulity is not evidence for anything other than your inability to accept facts.
Come on, does it really make sense to you?
Yes, it makes sense, but then I learned about these systems and I don't just make up how I think the science would or should be and then talk about how the things I know nothing about are so dumb and wrong and how right I must be because of it. You know, because I'm stupid like that, I guess.
Let's keep going. We all know that atoms have no patterns, right?
Must you keep going? I mean, you've said enough incorrect shit to last a single person a lifetime. Maybe you shouldn't be so greedy with it. But fine, atoms don't have patterns? Define patterns? I mean, that is one of the other problems with these kinds of videos. You lot often use words that you don't understand as ambiguously as possible. I think it's so when some asshole like me points out the dumb things you say, you can just be like, well, I didn't mean it like that. And then, of course, never clarify as if that somehow fixes the problem.
Then how are the atoms able to create organs which were designed so perfectly that you would think specific patterns were used for each one of them?
See? What the hell do you mean by patterns? Because, like, atoms do have patterns. Everything in nature tends to have in some way or another. But I think by patterns, he means, like, blueprints? As if the individual atom should have the schematics for making things on them? When, no, again, no one expects that. But there can be collections of atoms that eventually do have instructions to build things. I don't know what the obsession with the basic blocks is. No one says any of this shit, except idiots who think they are making some kind of grand point.
The organs themselves are a miracle of creation.
Prove it. You keep saying that, but the only evidence you seem to think you have for that is that you don't understand what the science says. But okay, even if the science were wrong, but if you could represent it accurately, you would find it isn't. That doesn't actually mean the thing you think gets to be right. We could somehow be wrong about every science available to man, but that wouldn't actually suddenly make every religious explanation valid. If anything, because they all contradict each other in multiple points anyway. So go ahead, refute every other ideology as well, without accidentally refuting your own. It'll be good for a laugh to see you flounder even harder.
How can simple atoms place the organs at the perfect place in our bodies?
Perfect places? Are you fucking kidding me? Your God doesn't even do that, apparently. Like, even from person to person to person, those perfect places can vary wildly and still function fine, if not at peak efficiency. And that's not to mention, again, they aren't even in good places to start with. Seriously, not a single shoulder-mounted cannon. It's like he's not even trying.
More than that, how can they even know the numbers of the organs that are essential for our bodies?
You can still have a fairly normal life without one of your lungs, a kidney, your spleen, appendix, gallbladder, adenoids, tonsils, plus some of your lymph nodes, the fibular bones from each leg, and 6 of your ribs. Yeah, of course, essential. You know, I'm starting to think that this guy might know dick all about human biology.
All these activities are only possible with specific attributes like an internal life, will, knowledge, and an internal might.
You made that up. You have no idea if those things are necessary for life to be a thing that happens. You just need it to be like that for your worldview to be justified. But you have literally no reason other than petty desire to be saying that.
And you give all these attributes to atoms which don't even possess one of them? Really?
No, but then again, I'm not the one who keeps making shit up.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the